Absolutely phenomenal morning, guys. This is your Breakfast with the Brand. I am your host, Sean Raiz, as always, flanked by the phenomenal Bobby Jackson, as well as the incredulous, the brilliant and beneficent Junior Frederick. What's going on, guys? How are you guys feeling? I'm feeling phenomenal. I'm out of the office. I love to be out of the office and actually do this from somewhere else. You guys know how I love to travel. I'm at the top. I'm at the peak right now, guys. I hope you are as well. Wherever you're listening to this from, welcome, welcome, welcome to the Breakfast with the Brand. How you guys feeling, man?
Hey, Sean, I feel amazing. I feel amazing. Thank you for the exceptional introduction. Although, that's not necessary. Guys, I'm just me. I'm just me. But I feel great. I'm looking forward to seeing, how we can help people. After the last Breakfast with the Brand that I was on, I actually got a few calls of people saying that, they like the way that Bobby and I broke down the sales process and how we went through some of the steps. So yeah, man, the reason I'm here is to see how I can help people. So I'm just open. I'm ready. Guys, if you have any questions, put it in the comments and let's get started.
Very good. Very good. Bobby Jackson, how about you, sir?
I'm phenomenal. It's a Saturday morning, did my run this morning, and instead of listening to like different speakers that I enjoy, I just listened to aggressive beats and I ran and I enjoyed the run. So this morning I'm feeling clear, I'm feeling open, I'm feeling full, energetic. So I'm excited to just dive in with that clear mind that you get after a good sweat, a good run with a clear mind. I'm excited.
Very good. Very good. So as you guys can see, right, everybody has a tie on except me. Right. Everybody has a tie on except me. And that's because I'm in brand all day. Right. So I'm doing content shooting today. So I will be in brand all day, probably 8 to 12 hours. Right. But I want you guys to think about is what is your commitment level? What is your commitment level with your brand, with your business? I just saw something that really just lit me up on the inside. I know everybody probably saw Beyonce and the daughter at Blue at the Grammys and the legacy piece. Listen, what's your level of commitment? What's your level of sacrifice? If you're in business, but you're not in business to create a personal brand, to create a legacy, and to create a dynasty, like, what's the purpose? What's the purpose? You got to think, like, you got to see it. You're seeing it every day. People come into groups. They started out as Destiny's Child. They come into a group. One, cream, always seems to rise to the top. And then shift, right? Think about the groups you've been a part of. Think about the things that you've been a part of and how you are here on this call this morning. How many people are not? How many people could be? Did God choose you or did you choose you? Or was there some kind of connection there where you chose you and then you were chosen? You choose you and then you become chosen. Because I guarantee you there's a lot of people that could be taking this walk with you, but they're not. They're sitting back. They're probably asleep right now. They're probably asleep right now. It's 8 o'clock. And I'm sure everybody on this call probably been up since 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, some earlier than others, because this is what we do. This is personal branding. This is leadership development. This is your Breakfast with the Brand. And we'll be right back with that connection piece. What is your commitment level? There's slow growth and then there's scale. There's incremental growth and then there's exponential growth. What I want to talk to you about is adding a zero to you and experiencing exponential scale. Incremental growth says 1 + 1 is 2. Exponential growth says 1 + 0 is 10. Incremental growth says 2 + 2 is 4. Exponential growth says 5 + 0 is 50. Guys, listen, when you add a zero to you You can add a 0 to the marketplace. You can add a 0 to the value that you bring. So you can add a 0 to your family, add a 0 to your legacy. This is what we're talking about. We're not talking about incremental, we're talking about exponential. I always say that business is a spiritual game. Just imagine when you combine your skills, your values, your abilities, your talents to something bigger than you, something greater than you, something like the power of exponential. That is adding a 0. Add a 0 to your competence, add a 0 to your confidence. This is about adding a 0 in your life, your value, your industry, and your mission. Let's grow. In brand clarity, exactly what you're gonna get is what it sounds like. Clarity for your brand. What is your color? What is your logo? What is your unique value proposition? Who are you speaking to? Why? How should you speak to them? How should I position myself? That's what you're gonna learn in brand clarity. You need other people to have the same clarity on your brand that you do. But this is the gap. If you don't have clarity on your brand, then no one else is gonna have clarity on your brand either. It's like messaging. Your message sounds clear to you, but is your end user receiving the value that you're trying to provide? I guarantee you that after you go through brand clarity, they will, and so will you. And that's how you'll scale your brand. Commitments. Talk to me about commitments, guys. Talk to the people about commitments. Let them know like how important the commitment level. Talk about your commitment level and then what theirs needs to be if they really, really want to succeed in this thing. Because I think a lot of people have it mixed up. They think that the success is going to come to them as opposed to them growing into the success.
So when I think about commitment level, like let's really understand what does that mean. What does it mean to commit to something? And I don't have the dictionary definition, obviously, but what in my mind, what it means to commit means to stick with something until success. So to stick with a task until you arrive at a point of success where you actually achieve that result. So I believe, I look at life, Sean, on a spectrum. So I don't really believe in the black and white sort of thing. Opposites are the same. That's the way I think. So in other words, everybody already has a commitment level, right? So what may be hot to Bobby may be cold to somebody else. Like when you look at a thermometer, where does cold stop and hot begin? It's one in the same thing. So I look at things like commitment along the same line. I believe that people already have a commitment level, but the question is, are you committed enough? Or can you stay committed long enough? I think that's a better question until you achieve that goal.
Nice.
You understand what I'm saying? Can you stay committed long enough? Because and put it in the comments, put a number 1 if you know what I'm talking about. Everybody, when they set out to do something, everybody, technically they are committed. So if you say, well, yeah, I want to build a business, like in that moment, you become committed because you're moving in that direction. The question is, can you stay committed long enough? Like nobody here would describe themselves as somebody who's not committed. Yet most people here looking at this, right? We will all agree, and myself included, that we have set goals in the past that we did not achieve. Okay, I'm no different. So the question becomes, if all of us here we start at commitment, just plain commitment, the question becomes not are you committed, but how long can you stay committed? Because everything that you want to achieve happens over a space of time. Like it's not reasonable to say, like, if I start a business today, I'm going to be a millionaire in 90 days. Can you do that? Yes. Is it reasonable? No. So that means you just have to be committed long enough until you achieve that goal. And I feel like, people start committed, they start with motivation, they start with, all this zeal, all this drive. But the thing is, can they stay committed over long periods of time? And then we get into other concepts, right? So the other concepts would be stuff like delayed gratification, for example. Delaying gratification until you arrive at that point. That's number 1. Number 2 is that it goes back to what I was saying, Sean, accurate thinking. Like if you're starting right now and you've never attracted a client to your business, it's not reasonable to think that you're going to attract a client and establish a system and build a brand in 90 days. That's just not going to happen. So can you stay committed long enough until you achieve that goal? And I feel like that's the question that most people should be asking themselves. And that's where the saying comes in, motivation gets you started, discipline keeps you going. It's because discipline is literally just being committed over a long enough time frame so you can achieve whatever you set out to achieve. The way I look at it is like, okay, there are many ways to get to one destination, right? And like, if you look at it logically, like whatever you set for yourself right now, I'm talking to the audience now. Even if you went through, let's say, 100 mistakes, as long as you're progressing, like it's mathematically impossible for you not to achieve your goal. So Sean might be skilled in one thing, and he might get there in 3 steps. Bobby may not have that skill as yet. He might get there in 10 steps. But if Bobby stays committed, like it's almost impossible for Bobby not to get whatever it is that he's looking for, as long as he's correcting along the way. It might just take Bobby a little longer than Sean, because maybe Sean is just, naturally gifted at whatever it is that thing is. But it doesn't mean that Bobby cannot achieve whatever it is Sean's achieved. So we have a saying, what one can do, another can do. The only question is, how long are you going to stay committed? And that's my take on that.
Big, huge. Come on, let's go.
Right. So I'm gonna dive right into that. So I love the different perspectives that we have. Sean brings us that old Harlem, and the corporate. Junior brings us St. Lucia, as well as all the different things that he knows from working internationally. And I like to bring that military Marine Corps side along with what I know just from coming up in the finance accounting world and things of that nature. But this is definitely going to be a Marine Corps military analogy for me, because it's one of our core values. So the core values of the Marine Corps is honor, courage, commitment. So I'm going to speak on commitment. That is a core value from 248 years of military Marine Corps heritage. So when we talk about commitment in the Marines, a way you could say it is, how many ways do you give yourself out? Now, what I mean by that is, if you have an out, then you have a chink in your commitment. There was a general, I forget his name. I want to say he was a general. And he was surrounded. His men said, "Sir, we're surrounded. We have no way out." And the other guy says, "Yes, it's true. We're surrounded." The general looks at his men and he says, "Great. They don't know what angle we're going to attack them from. Let's go." It's like, fine. Since we're surrounded, there's no way out. We can attack from northwest, east, and south, and we're going to crush them. And we have the element of surprise. So for us, we have a level of commitment that says there is no way out. There's only a way through, because we don't look for exits. We look for, and we even say, close with and destroy the enemy when we are doing a rifle squad type of maneuver. So it's called a rifling maneuver. So we're like online and we're moving forward. The goal is to close with and attack the enemy. And what that simply means is that we're always covering ground. We never surrender. We never yield. It is a handful, literally a handful of times in United States history in which the Marine Corps has surrendered. We are known for having the least lost battles of any military force on the planet, the United States Marine Corps, because we just don't stop. We don't quit. The Germans called us devil dogs because we hopped out of the tanks like wild beasts, and they thought that we were possessed by animals, and they called them devil dogs. Until this day, we still say devil dog when we see each other. And that's the level of commitment that you have to have when you're going to do certain things. So that's in my blood. 12 years Marine Corps, it's in my heritage. So when I think of commitment, I think of no retreat, no surrender. They're not going to take me alive. Pretty much.
I love it. I love it, guys. Listen, it's so interesting, right? Look at the spark of life. Look at the spark of life that comes from a comment and content and an idea. It's taken on 3 different forms now, right? So from Harlem, I just knew I had to have commitment if I was ever going to do anything with my life. Having no coaches, we didn't have a personal and professional development industry. Our personal and professional development industry went as far as the corner, and there were no positive constructs, right? Junior has his own understanding and level of commitment and what it means in definition, and Bobby does too. So the question is, what is yours? To Junior's point, I think of a map. So I was flying yesterday, and listen, and some people on this call were actually on a call with me before I left the call to go get on the plane. I didn't have to do this training. I have a team. My team could have done this training, but I said, this is for me. I'm going to do this training. So most people would have said, I'm not going to do this call. I've got to fly in 2 hours. Just in case anything happens, I want to make sure that I'm at the airport extra early so that I don't miss the plane. It's conventional wisdom, but it's not commitment wisdom. It's not commitment level wisdom. Commitment level wisdom says I'm going to do both. Commitment level wisdom says I'm going to do the training because I said I would. Because when it comes from me, it's a little bit different, hits a little bit different, high investment level. Let me take care of the high investment level, and then I'll get on the plane. I'll be there one way or the other. And here we are. So that's the level of commitment. The fact that we're here is a level of commitment. The fact that we're here is a level of commitment. But to Junior's point, if you take your phone out right now, take your phone out and put in a destination, any destination, I don't care where it is, and then click go, they'll give you 4 or 5 options on how to get there. They'll say, if you fly there, you'll get there in 2 hours. If you drive there, you'll get there in 5 hours, 6 hours. If you take a bike there, you'll still get there. It might take you 2 days. And if you walk, it might take 4 days. However, you'll still get there. As long as you're committed, there's no way that you won't arrive at the point. You will arrive at the point. So the question is, are you committed to that degree? Junior also says something about starting your brand and making $1 million in 90 days. Might not happen. We went live on Facebook, did almost half that in less than 90 days. You might not have the same characteristics. You might not have the same team. You might not have the same circumstances. Profitability takes place at the intersection of purpose and persistence. Purpose and persistence, when they intersect, that intersection, that's where your profit occurs. Everybody wants to be profitable. Everybody says they have a purpose, but very few people have the level of commitment or the persistence to make it profitable. Those who do, right before we go to the break, guys, those who do are that devil dog that Bobby was talking about. We'll be right back. This is The Breakfast with the Brand. I said Sean Rye East. I'm proud. That's Sean Rye East. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes. Beautiful, beautiful. Let's pick it up from there. I wanted to say something to Bobby's point as well. When he incurred the military, right? There's a book called Discipline Equals Freedom. Jocko Willink. Discipline equals freedom. A lot of people enjoy the discipline, the freedoms that they enjoy because some people had discipline. Some people had commitment levels that we're not even close to, right? They had commitment level. Think of the 60s. Think of the 60s. Think of the 40s. Think of the 30s and the freedoms that certain people enjoy in this country and the commitment level that was endured to make those freedoms possible.
You know, Sean, when I think about that, it goes back to time. Consistency, like over time. Like I could imagine. Now, I'm not from the US, but I know I study the US, and I could imagine, you know, those actions made by people who came before us. It had like that. Those actions had to be made for an extended period of time.
Yes, sir.
Because it said that when you start something, nobody really believes you. Like, as you know what I'm talking about. You're like, oh, I'm gonna start a business. Okay, give him 3 months. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go to school, whatever. Like, give him 2 months. Give him 3 months. Give him 90 days, and let's see what happens. Like, nobody really believes you. Nobody really takes you seriously unless you do it over an extended period of time. So it goes back to my question, like, how long are you willing to stay committed? And it's so interesting now that I think about it, because when we started this year, I made a commitment to work out or to train every single day, like 7 days a week. But I also made another commitment, which I hadn't even consciously thought about, which is that I would not judge myself. And this is big. And guys, you should write this down just in case. Like, if you're in a space right now where maybe you're going to the gym, or maybe you're starting a business, or maybe you're learning sales, maybe you're learning marketing, whatever it is, I made a commitment to, number one, do it every single day. But number two, not to judge myself until after 3 years. So what that means is that I'll train every day because you know this as well as I do. Sometimes and I'm talking about the gym, but you can apply this to all areas of life.
That's right.
Well, sometimes I'll use the gym just for simplicity, but sometimes we make commitments to go to the gym. Okay, and maybe we're a little overweight. Maybe, you know, there's a certain body type or look that we're going for. And then after 30 days, we look in the mirror and we don't see that. And we're like, I'm not sure if this thing is working. We go back 60 days. It's like, maybe something's happening. 90 days, it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm wasting my time. Or even, I'll give you a funny story. I'll give you a funny story about one of my, somebody from my family, okay? So, you know how everybody does New Year's resolutions. So I had an uncle. His New Year's resolutions was he would stop eating certain things. So he made a list, okay? On the list, he had soft drinks, he had cakes, he had sugar, he had for what we call bakes, but bakes is basically like bread, but we call it in our country, that's what we call it. And he took that piece of paper and he took one of those magnets, those refrigerator magnets, he stuck it on the refrigerator, okay? So day one passed. He came from work and then he went into the fridge, he pulled out a soda, soft drink, and then he's like, oh man, like he messed up the first one already. So he went onto the little piece of paper and he crossed out soft drink. Next day he came back. Let me tell you something, Sean. We could go over again. Basically, before the week was done, This guy, he ripped off the paper from the fridge and he just tossed that in the bin. He had he had eaten every single thing that he said he wasn't going to eat. And I think that happens because we judge ourselves on a very small time frame. So, for example, you may
Power.
have just started a business, okay, but you're not successful as yet. And you're like, oh my God, I suck. Maybe you started speaking 30 days, you're not a powerful speaker. You're like, oh, I suck. I can't speak. No, like set a nice amount of time, an unreasonable amount of time for you to get good in and judge yourself based on that. So I said, I'm not going to judge myself in like 90 days. I'm going to judge myself after 3 years, which means that I'm committed to at least 3 years before I can turn around and I can say, what I'm doing is not working. And
Beautiful.
because check this out. I know that something's gonna happen. A birthday is gonna come up, a family celebration. Something's gonna happen. I'm gonna end up eating ice cream. Like guys, I love tiramisu. I love ice cream. I love all of these kind of things. So I know I'm gonna eat that. And guess what? Maybe the workout I did last week. Maybe I put on, a pound or two. That negates the workout that I did last week. I don't worry about that stuff because I'm not judging myself in like the space of 2 weeks. I'm judging myself over the space of 3 years. And when you're going for your goals, I feel it's useful to stay committed to those goals, but also stay committed to judging yourself only over an extended period of time. Like judge yourself after 1 year. If you get started in business, judge yourself after 12 months. Judge yourself after like 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years. Don't judge yourself. Don't look at you and say, I suck after like 60 days. That's not reasonable because nobody's perfect. In those 12 months, there will be days where you mess up. There will be days where you fail. There will be days when you don't close a deal. There will be days where things don't go right. But just like the stock market, just like, any kind of like chart, when you zoom in, Sean, so the S&P 500 has been going up for several years. But when you zoom in, there's little points where it goes down. It goes down, it goes up. It goes down, it goes up. But when you zoom out over an extended period of time, it looks like the chart is only going up. And that's all I'm saying. Like, judge yourself over an extended period of time. And don't judge yourself after like 1 week or 60 days. If you do that, I think people could stay committed to stuff a lot longer when they change the time frame that they are committed to. And that's my take.
Yeah. right.
All day.
Super powerful. So I'm going to give you guys the other spectrum. I love the diversity because I was raised in the Marine Corps, raised by, again, those devil dog hoorah crazy people, right? So for us, everybody that's ever been committed, like in our world, knows what rhabdo is. If you do know what rhabdo is, put a 1 in the chat. Like
You said rhabdo.
Rhabdo.
I'm gonna have to not put a 1 in the chat because I don't know the language. Might be the concept. I don't know the language.
So I'm gonna give you guys the real. I'm gonna do my best to say it, but I'm gonna spell it for you so you guys can look it up. But rhabdo is RHABDOMYOLYSIS. Joel is like,
hold on. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna need clarity on this because
Bobby, I think you should write that. I think you should write that in the comments, Bobby. If you can.
I tried to follow him and do it myself, but I said, nah, he's losing me somewhere because I'm not really sure. Okay, so go ahead, put that in there and let's see what that is and break that down because it sure didn't sound the way it's spelled.
Yeah, so it's so I don't know how to pronounce it, but I think it's rhabdomyolysis. It's a medical term, so I didn't even want to try to butcher that thing, but I just put it in our chat because I can't post to the comment. So Junior, I put it in our private chat. If you could post that for the people, that would be great.
Yeah, I think the audience has put it in.
Okay,
they already did it. They already did it with us. We doing this. This is a joint venture. Go ahead.
Yeah. So rhabdo. Before I lead with rhabdo, though, I want to tell you guys a funny, just story. I got one story about rhabdo and then one story that's just funny to me. So I always laugh when we get people that aren't 18 that come into the military, because when they come in after working in the civilian world before, they think that they can call in sick. They think that that's a thing. So they come to work and they're like, Staff Sergeant Jackson, I'm not feeling okay. Can I stay in? Before they know it, boom, 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 open the door, we kick it in the hatch. Get out the bed, get out the rack right now, and get your behind in Krabby's at the base, and we'll tell you if you're sick enough to stay home. Real talk, that's how it goes. Like, we have keys to their barracks rooms. We go in their rooms, tell them to get their camis on. You don't tell me you're sick. You come to work first. We'll look you in the eye, send you to boot camp, and then they'll diagnose you're sick. You don't tell you you're sick. So that's something that's really funny about commitment levels. It's like, commitment, sick? What's sick? What, your birthday? What's your birthday? You better be at work, on time, shave, clean cut, ready to go. Bro, sick call at 8 p.m. or be 8 a.m. Sick calls 8 a.m., not 6:30 in the morning when you feel sick. So that's just a funny story. They come in, they think it's sweet. We tell them, get your behind in here, boots on, shave face, and let's go. So that's just a funny story about military commitment. Like, you don't get to call in sick. So what is rhabdo? So I have gotten rhabdo 3 times in my life so far. So those of y'all that have looked it up, rhabdo is an extreme level of exhaustion that happens by pushing the body beyond its physical limits for extended periods of time to the point that the body locks up. I was in a position where I have pushed myself so hard. When we talk about levels of commitment, when we talk about buddy dragging people, and we're talking about putting people that are 2 times your height or 2 times your size on your back and running with them, and then lifting ammo cans and doing all of these trainings in short periods of time, guys, I felt okay after. I laid down, I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what was wrong. I was like, hold on. Wow. I'm a little tired. But I mean, I've done this before, but I'm really tired. But then I got up. It didn't hit me yet. I went home, guys. I laid down. And then I locked up. I couldn't move. I could not move. My kidneys started to shut down. My body started to shut down. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. And I went to the restroom and my urine was brown. My kidneys could not pass the lactic acid through my body fast enough because that much muscle exertion had been utilized over extended periods of time. That's exhaustion. That's commitment. We're not stopping till it's over. My body will give out before my mind does. And I pushed my body to that limit on 3 occasions. That's military Marine Corps levels of commitment.
Now, let me just give you guys a business analogy, because you guys have transferable skills. I say it to everybody. If you've got the education, the experience, and the expertise, then you can get the impact, the income, and the independence. And this is what Sergeant Jackson learned when he came over into business.
Yes.
Because just like many of you, you're starting something new. It's a new terrain. You say to yourself, well, I've got a master's degree over here. I've got a bachelor's degree over here. I've got 10 years of service over here. I've got 10 years in my field over here, but I don't know this new terrain. I'm not sure if it's transferable. And the coach says, put your hands back in the car. Put your hands back in the vehicle. You're absolutely fine. We're going to use this system called Branded Like a Leader, Leadership Leverage, High Performance Consulting, and we're going to take you from where you are to where you need to go, because what you've done before is enough to grow. We're going to take you where you need to go, because where you've been before is enough for you to grow. So Bobby Jackson doing the rhabdo, when you transfer that from military experience to business application, it looks like 400% revenue increase year after year after year.
100%. And if I could add another piece to that, Coach, because I actually caught it in business too. So 2 of those ties was in the Marine Corps. One tie was in business.
Wow.
One tie was in business. I was exhausted, but that's how I knew, like, I'm pushing myself to limits that are, like, yeah, they're military level limits. And that's definitely where the 400% revenue growth came from. So I did want to make that known. Like, I pushed myself that far in business.
Yeah, actually, I have a question for Bobby because I'm fascinated by it. Now I wrote down Rabdo like 3 times. I'm fascinated with that. So, but I have a question for you though. Like Rabdo sounds like a terrible thing. Number one, like just the whole body shutting down. But
Concept.
what I find fascinating is like what would make you psychologically go to that level of commitment? And the reason I ask this question, I'm asking this question because I feel like the audience needs it, because everybody's trying to unlock sort of like that thing, that different side of them that they know it's inside of them, but it's like, how do I get there? And since you've been there multiple times, I'm wondering what was the thing or the series of things or the combination of things that would actually make you go there? Because like, was it being in the military? Was it the environment? Was it
That's
you?
a great question.
Was it the coach or the the instructor, however you refer to them there? Like, what was it that really pushed you to do that?
I can definitely give you the scenario, all 3 scenarios, and what caused me to do that. The first time it happened was for a CFT, a combat fitness test. And I was the leader for my Marines, and I had some, can't say this in the Marine Corps, but I won't say it this way here. I had some Marines that weren't fit, and they needed to see what grind looks like. And I was at an age at this stage, I was at a space in my career where I didn't need the highest score in order to get the next rank. I had Marines, however, that was giving themselves all kinds of excuses. So I said, all right, I'm a staff sergeant. Okay, I don't need this for the rank, so to speak. Or I'm a sergeant, I don't need this for the rank, but these guys think it's sweet. These guys need to know what it looks like. These lieutenants out here don't know who I am, and I need to lead them. So I had to create this mindset first that I'm going to get a particular time. This was the first time I ever got Rabdo. So I looked at my Marines. I'm like, okay, they are about to see what commitment looks like. 2, I had a lieutenant that was actually clocking my time for me that was also in my section. So I had to show him what leadership looked like too. So I was like, okay, now I got to put on for this guy too. And then 3, it was for myself. I'm like, all right, I got to still pass. So once I got down on the ground, I said to myself, you're the baddest mother lover running. You won't stop gunning until you hit it. Boom, go. And then I kept saying that over and over and over and over and over. So when I picked the guy, you the baddest mother lover running, you won't stop. Drop it, you the baddest mother lover running, you won't stop. Do that, you the baddest mother, you the baddest mother. And as I'm going, I hear the guy talking to me. He's like, 20 more seconds, 30 more seconds. And I'm saying, you the baddest mother lover. Until I got to the stops. And then once I got across the finish line, I collapsed pretty much. And I was just like, I laid down. I was like, oh my gosh. And as I laid down, I was like, you the baddest mother lover that ever walked this God's street. And so during that experience, what I had to do to get to that level is I had to create the mental environment that my muscles would respond to. So every time I thought something, I kid you not, it's like a mantra. Hum, hum. The same mantra that was going in my head was, you the baddest mother lover. So every time a muscle twitched, felt like it felt baddest mother lover, baddest, baddest. And that's all my body would do. And that's all I would respond to. And that's exactly what my body did. But once I stopped, and I stopped. That mantra stopped. Everything else caught up to me, and I laid in the bed for like 3 days. But that was the first time. Second time, very short story. And I'll keep.
Hold on, Bobby. Hold on 1 second. So I wanna so I wrote down a couple things when you said that. So I wrote down mantra.
Yes.
I wrote down self-hypnosis. I wrote down, and I noticed Joel and Katrina put it in the comments. They said fear of failure, because you had something to prove, right? And I also noticed, and I noticed how so Sean put something in the comments. Sean said sacrificing yourself for a greater purpose. And then I noticed Joel put in fear of failure, Katrina put in fear of failure. And I'm just looking at, I find it so interesting how people can be driven by different things to achieve the same result. And I think everybody's driven by something else. Like, you have to find whatever you're driven by and then do that, whatever that is. That might be different from Sean. So Sean's driven by purpose. Some people may be driven by the fear of failure, but it's like going towards the same thing, or they interpret the same thing as different. So Sean may interpret it as you sacrificing yourself for the purpose of helping the other people, and then Katrina may interpret it as not wanting to fail.
Yes, I saw Katrina's. I didn't mean to laugh there, but I just read Katrina's post. Like, what does wisdom tell you now? And I couldn't help but laugh there. But
and you know, Bobby, before you answer that, I actually had that question. Maybe we'll do it after the break. Maybe we should do it after the break, because I had a great question about
Yeah,
that.
go ahead. Go to the break, Junior. Let everybody
All right,
get a
let me
break,
go.
guys, so they can not go into rhabdo.
Yeah.
The difference between sales and closing, I get this all of the time, guys. Closing is elegant. Closing is luxurious. Closing is the most profitable. Sales, high pressure tactics. No one associates car sales, right, the sleazy sales tactics, with closing, because closing is elegant. Closing is excellent. You have to be a professional in order to close deals. Listen, when you do this the right way, when you learn what we're going to teach you in here, your clients will be trying to close you, and they won't let you close them for low numbers. So you'll be able to heighten, increase your profitability, increase your visibility, increase your reach, and increase your impact in the marketplace, and be confident and comfortable charging higher prices than you ever thought possible to the right people who can actually pay for them, and then say thank you for closing them. So when you're young, mommy tells you to play nice. Play nice, Timmy. Let all of the other kids play too. But in business, it's not about playing nice. In business, it's about winning. It's about adding multiple zeros to your revenue. Now, of course, your staff wins. And when you win, other people win. However, when it comes to competition, you absolutely must dominate. You can't play for participation, and you can't play just to get along or just to get by, because business is serious. Business will help you to change the world, or the world will change you. Your people will either win or your people will lose based on your level of leadership, what you're willing to do, what you're willing to sacrifice, and how much you know about dominating. Go ahead, Bobby. Continue to enlighten us on this this systemic breakdown.
So in response to what Katrina said, when she was like, what does wisdom tell you to do now? Train. So for me, I was a staff sergeant, if I remember at the time. I can't remember which one, but I do know that my next rank was secured. So I wasn't training like I needed to prove something to the world. Like, I did not need to go as hard as I went. But had I trained a bit harder and more consistently and things of that nature, I might have been able to go that hard without experiencing the severity of rhabdo. But because I was training at the level that I was training at, and I was good, but the time demanded more of me, and I rose to the occasion. And rising to the occasion caused rhabdo. I'd do it again. you know, and that's just me. Like if I was in a position where I trained and my training wasn't sufficient, but the demand of the team and the troops needed me to go to that next level, then I'd do it again. But I would try to train as best as possible, knowing what I know now. But the second one was an obstacle course that was completely in the trees, guys. Have y'all ever seen Tarzan? Like, please put a one in the chat if you see Tarzan. Like,
Bobby, hold on. You are a Marine, right?
yes.
You were a Marine. So what are you doing in the trees? Isn't Marine isn't that like water? Educate me.
Bro, so jungle warfare was where we fought a lot of battles too. So we're amphibious. We are lethal on on land, water, and sea.
Explain that again, because I know amphibious. When I think of amphibious, when you said that, it just made me think of frogs.
100%. A frog will take you. A frog is moving in the water. They're hopping on land. They're jumping in trees. Frogs are getting it done. Like wherever they need to be, they are moving swiftly in that terrain. So that's how Marines are looked at. Marines are amphibious war fighters in the sense that we sail with the Navy, we deploy with the Army, and we drop down out of parachutes with the paratroopers. We're wherever it's going down. That's pretty much us. We're wherever it's going down. So we were in the trees because it was a particular obstacle course for upper body core strength and just sheer endurance. So pretty much they had zip lines, they had like ropes and all of these different things spanning, let's say like 1 mile. Okay. And it's all in the trees. If you let go, you're done. Okay. You have a harness on you now, but you can't complete the thing. So you pretty much have to travel a mile in the trees, above the trees, and you're using ropes and zip lines and different like branches and whatnot to get through this thing. And everybody kept going and failing. They would get 200 feet and fail, 500 feet, fail, 300 feet, fail. And then I heard an instructor say, I thought these were the Marines. I lost it. That was it for me. They said, I thought these were the Marines. Look, I said, yeah, we are. And it was like, well, I mean, your guys as officers, this is the third one that's failed. Did you know that? What rank are you? I said, oh, you're going to find out. Stand by.
Hold on, Bobby. Hold on. Just a quick question. If you fall, like, I know you have a harness, but if you fall, do you like lose? Is that the way it is?
If you fall, you're done. Like you didn't complete it. You have to complete it without fall.
You out of the out of the training. Okay, all right.
You're out. So you got to make it the whole way. Once I heard that, and I saw all of these lieutenants falling, I saw these captains and all these people falling. I said, in my mind, Bobby Jackson is not falling off of this rope. I don't care how long it takes me to get from one end of this tree line to the other. Long story short, I'm on it. Boom. Boom, I passed one Marine. Boom, I passed the next one. Boom, I passed the third one. And then I get to the point where everybody felt. I said, has anyone made it past this one? They said, no. I said, it's go time. It's go time. I'm already hurting, but you know what they say, the workout doesn't start until your body is really hurting. So once I got there, I was like, okay, great. No one else has got this far. So now I'm going. I'm hurting. I'm hurt and I'm going and stuff. Like if you've ever been doing intense training, like these are hour-long evolutions. Like a lot of people can go to the gym for an hour, 2 hours. Like you've been exerting muscle effort for 3 to 4 hours now. So you're going and you're doing this thing and I'm like locking up. One arm is like this and I'm, don't touch me. Don't touch me. My legs are cramping up and I'm going across this doggone thing. And then I get to the last evolution, guys. And I'm going and I'm on a rope upside down going like this. And I've got my ankles locked at one end and my arms at the other end. And I'm going all the way to the end. And I'm just like, like 10 meters, guys, like maybe 10 feet away. And I just feel my soul like leaving my body. I'm like, of like Chesty Puller and all of the Marine guys before me. Don't let me fail before these civilians. You know, I'm praying to everybody, and I'm just going and going and going, and then I just start to hear them. I start to hear the chants, and they were faint, and they get louder. Let's go, Sergeant! You the first one. Let's go, Jackson! You the last one. And I'm like,
Guys, yeah.
Hold on,
Just-
hold on. I got to know something, Junior. I got to know something.
Yeah.
Did you complete it?
I completed it. But I'll say this. I completed it because I got so far, like my muscles at this point were so locked up, I could barely move them. The guy told me this. He said, you've gotten so far. If you can reach your arm to me, I'll pull you in. I had to get an arm's distance. I had to pretty much let go of my legs. So once I let go of my legs, I believe I just used all of my arm strength to get 1, 2, 3. And then I stretched my arm for dear life. And he pulled me in like the last quarter. And I was like, you did it.
Let's go.
Come on.
I was the first one to finish it.
Oh, right. Oh,
And
wow.
lo and behold, everybody started finishing after that. But I caught Rabdo on those steps. Like soon as I got all over again.
Wow.
It was over.
Right,
I was like, oh, I know what this is. I know what this is.
So Sean, I just Googled how many feet in 1 mile.
Yeah.
Because Bobby, you said people were feeling at like 500 feet, right? So I just Googled how many feet in a mile. And it's like 5,280 feet. That's a mile. 5,000. So people were feeling at the 500 feet, and Bobby went like 5,000 feet. That's incredible.
It was the fear too.
That's right.
We were at super high heights, so people just couldn't take certain leaps because they were looking down. It's like if I drop this and my harness click, like some people just couldn't get themselves to go through certain obstacles. So it's
and I also noticed. And hold on, Sean. I also noticed. 1 second, Sean.
Go ahead.
Remember that thing about the 4-minute mile? Remember that?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Where people had this like mental block, like a human being cannot run a mile in
Roger
4 minutes.
Bannister.
That's right. And when Bobby was talking, I heard him say that everybody kept coming to this like point where I guess maybe they were expecting to fail. I don't know if that's what it was, but everybody kept failing at a certain point in the trail. And then Bobby was able to break free of that. And then you notice what he said? He said after he completed it, other people started completing it. Same thing, like when Roger broke the 4-minute mile, like several people now are breaking that 4-minute mile every single day. So that's just incredible. Just wanted to point that out.
Listen, man, this comes down to mindset. Because if you notice, both times he kind of pointed at his head. Like, I'm a student of reflection. Like, I study not just what's being said, but what's around what's being said. So both times he pointed at his head and said, I had to. In order for you to do the kind of things that you're hearing about, you have to put yourself in a different mindset, in a different mind state. And you got to turn your what into a who. Both times he said, the people, my people, my troops needed, my Marines were falling, my possession, taking ownership, people, purpose, passion, people, purpose, passion, sacrificing for other people. When you turn your what and your why into a who, that's when you'll understand the level of commitment. The reason we're here, leadership, the breakfast with the brand, passion, people, purpose, passion, over and over. The theme plays over and over again. If he told the third one, if we had time for him to tell the third one, I guarantee you it would be people, purpose, passion. At the intersection lies the profitability that everybody's looking for. The problem is, and the reason why you can't fathom this level of commitment or level of success is because you put the wrong things first. You do it for the wrong reason. You do it for the results. as opposed to the reason. It goes back to torque. It goes back to the time mastery piece. You remember that, Junior? You remember that? When I taught torque time mastery, it's the reason that brings the results. What you're looking for is the result, but you don't have the reason. And that's why you drop off the rope. You're not even out of breath.
Yeah.
You're not even out of breath. You're just dropping out of your mindset cannot fathom being able to persist and complete. I love it. Let's go. Let's go. That stuff get me excited. This is a content day for me. I got a whole lot of it too. Good work. Good work, Sergeant Jackson. Good work.
Sir. Took me back to the grid line.
That's right.
Man.
And what do we do now? What is everybody else going to do now? Us, back to work. What are you going to do now? I don't know. But this has been another edition of Your Breakfast with the Brand. Let's grow.